morning, CSL. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I'm here with you broadcasting from my home office. And I look forward to spending the next hour with you. We've got a lot of wonderful things coming up. And so, first off, let's enjoy Leah again as we do our month-long sing-along. Here she is.
Love, would you guide my feet? Love, will you light my path? Love, lead the way. Love, will you fill my needs? Love, will you do the math? Love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way, and I will walk with trust today. In all I do, in all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. When I don't know what I'm doing, when nothing feels okay, love, lead the way. When everything feels broken and I'm holding fear at bay, love, lead the way. Lead the way. Lead the way, and I will walk with trust today. In all I do, in all I say, I will follow. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way. Love, lead the way.
Thank you, Leah. That was wonderful. Love, Lead the Way. We'll be singing that song. That'll be our opening song for the next 2 weeks, and that'll be our practice. Leah will give us a song that we can learn and get comfortable with all month, and by the end of the month, we'll all be singing along at home. So thanks so much for joining us for that, and thank you, Leah, for all you add to our broadcast on Sunday mornings. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I am the spiritual leader here at Centers for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz. We're located in Live Oak on Felt Street. We're not meeting in our sanctuary today, and I am broadcasting to you from home. More about that a little later. I do want to say that Centers for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz is part of a global movement, and that global movement has a mission and a vision and a purpose that we share, but we have our own centering statement. So let's say this together, shall we? We are a spiritually progressive community that transforms lives in the world through a philosophy of possibility thinking and responding to life with love. So I have a little bit of a change up for you this morning. We're going to enjoy we're going to look at our quote. We'll have a prayer, then we'll have some music. Leah's brought some friends to us, Bob Sima and Sharon Plummer. So I hope that you'll enjoy that this morning as well. So let's get started with our spiritual practices. Our quote for this morning: I live in the faith that there is a presence and a power greater than I am that nurtures and supports me in ways that I could not even imagine. And that is from Ernest Holmes. So I hope you'll join me in this opening invocation, knowing that we have come together to be that place where Spirit shows up. And I know that this power and this presence moves in as and through everything to do with this broadcast, all those that are watching, all those that have been involved in it in the past, all those that are involved this morning. I know that there is a presence that moves through the music and the talk and all the prayer practice that we do. I trust that the divine is showing up this morning, as it always does in every moment of every day. And so in this moment, we come together to raise our awareness, to be together in spiritual community, and to walk the talk of living from a spiritual perspective. I give great thanks for this, and so it is. And now let's enjoy Bob Sima and Sharon Plummer.
If you want to go fast, then go alone. If you want to go far, you better bring somebody else along. 'Cause in the moment of darkness, in the moment of truth, you think you're lucky stars that there's someone there with you. There's a beauty in numbers that's impossible to deny. It takes two hands to applaud and a pair of wings to reach the sky. Where there was one, there will be many. Where there was nothing, there will be plenty. When me turns the weed like the roots from the tree, it pushes everything up from underneath. Well, together we rise, together we thrive. We believe in circles, 'cause circles take no sides. Together we win when everyone is in. When every little hand and every little heart touches every little piece and every little part now. If you want to start a revolution, reach out your hand and lift up a brother or sister and feel the power at your command. If you hold a vision, show everyone what you see and watch the tribe come alive to turn your dream to reality. Where there was one, there will be many. Where there was nothing, there will be plenty. When me turns the weed like the roots from the tree, it pushes everything up from underneath. Well, together we rise, together we thrive. We believe in circles, 'cause circles take no sides. Together we win when everyone is in. When every little hand and every little heart touches every little piece and every little part. What's inside of you is inside of me, and it's amplified when turned into we. You'll never hear one hand clapping, fly with one wing flap. Many hands, many hearts make things happen. The reason they call it unity, 'cause it all begins with you and me. If you want to go fast, then go alone. If you want to go far, you better bring somebody else along.
That was Bob Sima and Sharon Plumer. They are a wonderful couple out on the East Coast that David and I have known for a long time. And so thank you, Bob, and thank you, Shannon, for that wonderful piece of music. So, good morning. My name is Reverend Alice Reid, and I am here this morning to broadcast to you and be with you on our Sunday morning experience. Now, you might be noticing that I'm not broadcasting from the center, but I'm broadcasting from my home office. And that's because if COVID has taught us anything, it is that skill of being flexible in an environment that is constantly changing. And one of our team members became ill and she had some symptoms. And so we're being cautious and staying at home until we know the results of their COVID test. We're just being careful, so I don't think it's anything to worry about. I fully expect a negative test result, and we'll be back in the sanctuary next week when Reverend Elijah will be speaking. Yes, that's right. I said Reverend Elijah. The theme for September is facing our fear. And there's certainly a lot to be concerned about in our world these days. A healthy amount of fear, like knowing when to when your stove is hot and not to touch it or you'll get burned, is being cautious and makes sense. It's important to be cautious. For instance, when someone in our tech team has flu symptoms, we're just being cautious. And so that healthy amount of fear can be really helpful, but fear can be really unhealthy too, and I think we all know that. One of the go-to strategies, one of the go-to strategies when we're in fear is control. Another strategy is worry. We reach for ways to control things when we're in fear in an attempt to try to make it go away. And sometimes others, knowingly or unknowingly, use that relationship we humans have with fear and control, using that fear to try to motivate us. Advertising, in its lowest form, uses fear to motivate us to buy products. Politicians use fear, oftentimes trying to instill fear about the world that we live in or their opponents that they want to beat out in an election. Vote for me, I'll do the right thing, and you won't have to experience fear. Now, I know I'm stating the obvious. We're all experiencing that on a grand level right now as we come closer to a major election here in the U.S. There's a lot going on right now. And there's a lot in the world to be concerned about. And you may be experiencing fear around politics and national and local policies. You might be experiencing fear around the economy. You might be experiencing fear about the pandemic, or perhaps race relations, or our climate. My guess is that all of this and more is coming up, not against us, but for us. 2020 has been a difficult year for many of us, and there's genuine concern for what some are calling a collective trauma that our world is moving through. And what I know about trauma is that it often triggers traumas from the past. Fear just exacerbates that trauma when it remains unconscious. And so I think in this idea of facing our fears, the invitation is really for us to press into those fears so that they don't own us, but that we can use them as conscious catalysts. Facing our fears through inquiry gives us the ability to presence ourselves and to take right action. As a kind of absurd example, if you will, going back to that hot stove, if you were afraid of hot stoves, that fear could cause you to never go near it and maybe even remove it from your home. And maybe some of you are thinking, that would be a good excuse for me not to cook anymore. But I know it's a silly example, but my point is that a healthy fear helps to guide us and to lead us into right action. And it is the unhealthy fear that causes us to begin to draw on old fears and old traumas and make decisions that aren't really based in from a conscious place, but more from that unconscious place where we might be drawing on old memories of past fears. And so, um, what I'm suggesting today is that we begin to look at fear as a practice that is a telltale sign that there's something for us to go deeper about. There's something that is calling us to be more in inquiry. I was thinking about fear. Of course, it's the topic all month. So as I was contemplating that, I was thinking that it seems to me that unhealthy fear comes from giving too much power to the us against them or it thinking, that dualistic thinking, if you will, and our attachment to the conditions or things that are happening in the world. When those two things marry themselves, typically, if we're not conscious, we go unconscious and it's the fear that takes over. I mean, you just have to look at the news. The Dems want you to be afraid of the Republicans, and the Republicans want you to be afraid of the Democrats, each declaring that the other is a complete cause of all the ills in our culture. Unhealthy fear uses blame and shame to distance us from our personal responsibility. And there are conscious choices that need to be made right now, choices that are informed by principle and by our values, and we can't do that if our fear is running us. A conscious choice for something is way more powerful than a choice against something. You may be for personal freedom, but instead of focusing on that value of personal freedom, you might be focusing on the intrusive nature of government policies that limit personal freedom. And then conversely, you might be of the mind that there are not enough policies to protect the underserved. Both ideas support personal freedom, but both focus on the lack of personal freedom and the conditions that come of it. Neither truly focuses on that idea of personal freedom as a choice one makes. Once someone chooses personal freedom, their relationship to it has the opportunity to become more empowering, because it's that choice point that gives us the power. And unfortunately, depending on your relationship to your mind and your conscious choices, this isn't always as easy as flipping a switch, is it? Here's where facing your fears really comes in to be an empowering practice. By inquiring what you are most afraid of in a deliberate manner, you can begin to see where your fears might be loaded by past experiences. I found an old article by Martha Beck, author and famous life coach, that suggests that we unload our emotional baggage by simply noticing our emotions and asking, when before this recent experience was I this upset about something? Beck writes, just as kindness is the universal way of putting on your emotional safety, the universal way to unload your emotional ammunition is presence. Be here now, holding the memory of the original trauma. This is the key, noticing that here and now isn't there and then. The smell of burnt toast doesn't mean your house is burning down. An argument with your partner isn't the abuse you suffered in childhood. Fire, abuse, and any other trauma may still occur, but you are different. You're older, wiser, more capable. You're free to negotiate life more skillfully than you could when that first awful thing occurred. You have options. You can stand up for yourself, express your preferences, get help from friends, counselors, the authorities if it's that serious a situation. As you notice your ability to act on your own behalf in the present moment, the terrible helplessness and self-abandonment common to all trauma, slowly yields to a sense of personal empowerment. So, friends, practice is what we're talking about. The practice of inquiry, the practice to begin to see fear not as something to run away from, not from something to shut down, but to use it as a touchstone, an opportunity to invite self-compassion and kindness for yourself so that you can press in and get present with what's happening in the moment, and it's unencumbered with what's happened in the past. One of my personal triggers, I hate to even admit this here on the broadcast, but I will, is my fear of being wrong. Yeah, I know, it's really silly, but it generates a defensiveness in me that cuts me off from others and even any possibility of change. I get very fixed. And when I'm present with this trigger, I know it stems from a relationship I had with my dad growing up. When I'm not present, it drops me into this you and me, us and them kind of thinking, a duality, if you will, where I have to be right, so you must be wrong. And when I can pause and see that trigger for what it is, a reaction to an old condition rather than the present situation I find myself in, I can respond with love and kindness, not only for myself, but for those around me. And it enriches my relationships. Now, I know that's a rather benign example given what's going on right now, but the triggers going off in our society are real and present, and they need you not to feed them with old fears, but to be present with them so that you can begin to inquire and unbundle anything that might be entangled with what's going on in the world so that you can really be part of the solution. You can be part of the consciousness, the collective consciousness, if you will, that rises up and leads us to a clearer and better future. I know that it's enough to make anybody want to shut down, but it's really a call to be present. Be present with the political, economic, and world situation. Allow yourself to really press in. The universe needs you so that we can heal as humanity, as the world. We need you to be present. It needs your conscious attentions and your willingness to face your fear, if for no other reason, so that we can lighten up and then begin to walk out our current challenges with more kindness, more compassion, and more love. There is a wholeness behind all the insanity we seem to be facing in the world today. And we can't know it, let alone experience and express a more peace-loving and a more calm and a more conscious approach to things if we're locked up by our fears and our traumas and our triggers that go along with them. Fear begets fear, and love begets love. It's a practice to face your fears and be curious rather than shutting down. Oftentimes we shut down as our first reaction. And that's okay if it's your first reaction. Let your second reaction be curiosity so that you can begin to unleash the trapped energy that's stuck behind your fears. Now, I know you'll know you're on the right track when you're doing this practice of inquiry with your fears and really stepping into greater conscious, I'll use the word faith. You'll know you're on the right track because instead of feeling drained by your emotions, you'll feel an energy that creates a forward movement toward your values rather than against someone or something. You may still have a preference for how you think about personal freedom and how you think it can be realized, but you no longer have to villainize, and that's just really a fancy word for being a hater. You no longer have to villainize someone else's approach, someone else's preferences. You certainly can begin to bring your whole present self to the situation once you can untangle it from the fear, and you can begin to be part of that creative life force that creates from power rather than reacting to past wounds. Those past wounds are there to guide you to true power, not debilitate you and keep you stuck and benign. The world needs our power, and it needs us to be in our power right now. So see if this week, as you're moving through the week and that news article comes up, that person that brings up all kinds of difficult emotions in you, see if this week, if you can't find just a little bit of pause so that you can begin to be more conscious about what you're reacting to. And if you can, and then to begin to be present with the situation as it stands and not allow it to be a trigger from something old that no longer is happening in the moment. It's really about, Eckhart Tolle calls it the power of now, and being in that power of presence so that you can be truly effective and truly conscious. Next week, Reverend Elijah will look more closely at the powerful difference between having faith in spirit versus having the faith of spirit, as we continue for the month of September to look at this very powerful idea of facing our fears. Thank you very much. It's time to pray. Join me, if you will. I invite you to either lower your gaze or close your eyes and know that there is a power and a presence that is moving in as and through each one of us. I know this power is love. I know this power is freedom and beauty and joy. And I know for each one that we allow ourselves to be present, to be so present with what's happening right now that needs our full attention. And I trust that each one finds the curiosity to simply pause, to look at the upset, to look at the emotional roller coaster, and to distance yourself just far enough away from it so that you can step into the situation and deliver what is being called upon from you by Spirit in this moment. I know that each one that is listening to my voice has the power and the presence of that one that is moving through us, as us, and by us at all times, and that each one pauses and each one allows themselves to be in that now moment where power and true creativity lives. I trust that we are each supported, that there are ways that the universe is supporting us that we can't even begin to imagine, so that we walk out this week knowing we're supported, knowing we're resourced, knowing we're loved. I give great thanks for this, and I simply release this into the love and the law, knowing it is done, and so it is. And so now, our beloved Leah has a whimsical song for you. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, CSL Santa Cruz. You all are getting to know me, and you know that Peter Mayer is one of my favorite songwriters. This is a whimsical song that looks at something that we often fear, but where there might be an opportunity to play and celebrate and discover. The song's called The Dark. Edgar Allan Poe had it in his telltale heart. It's the finest time to strike, said Napoleon Bonaparte. Inmates make their break into it, cavemen make their art. Spy planes and spelunkers do it somewhere in the dark. Batman catches criminals in the dark of night, saving Gotham City from evil design. Darkness, dreamers love it and lovers tend to lie. If you think you're neither one, well in the dark that's just what you might become. Now some celestial bodies like to strut their stuff a lot. We know Mr. Black Hole is the big boy on the block. Yeah. seek out a decent living and monsters make it far. You might find what you've been missing somewhere in the dark.
That was great. Thank you, Leah. What a great song, The Dark by Peter Mayer. So, our affirmation this week is before us, and let's say this together. I live in the faith that I am always supported by the universe. I want to thank you for joining us this morning. I really appreciate all your support. We continue to receive your financial support in so many creative ways. You can support us by mailing donations to our Felt Street address. You can text to give at 44-321 and simply type in CSL Give. You can use our givelify.com app. They have a mobile app and a computer app, or you can go to our website and you can make a donation there. Any way you choose to donate, we really appreciate your support. And I want to just take a moment here and thank all those that are involved with our broadcast. We have a wonderful tech team that meets once a week to really plan everything and make sure that this is a good and solid broadcast for you. I want to thank Leah, our musician, who has been really blessing us with a lot of wonderful music, and then her friends, Bob Sima and Sharon Plummer. What a great treat to for me personally, it is to have a lot of my East Coast musicians joining us here on the West Coast. It's a wonderful side benefit from all the craziness we're dealing with COVID. If you were moved by this broadcast, if there was something in here that you found really meaningful, I really appreciate it if you would share it with your friends and you could, spread the word about CSL Santa Cruz. We're really here to serve you and to continue to grow and serve the public. So our broadcast will be on YouTube and on Facebook, and you can forward that to your friends. We appreciate your support in that way as well. We have a couple of interesting things coming up for you. We have a wonderful workshop. It's really, the first half of it is going to be very general, and the second half of it will be very specific to California voters. But it's really an opportunity for us to check in with our values and to get grounded in what values are important to us individually and as a movement, and then to do the nuts and bolts about the dates that you should be aware of, the places that you need to go to as far as voting when the time comes up on November 3rd. So you'll get some a really great fed right brain, left brain kind of experience. It's October 3rd, and then we'll repeat it on October 7th. So I hope you'll join us for that. You will need to register. If you go to our e-news, there's a registration link, or you can email our admin at admin@cslsantacruz.org. Let's see. As always, once a week, I join you for what we're calling a brown bag lunch. At 1 p.m., I come on and we do a little update and check in with each other and share what's going on with the center and in our community. And so, if you'll join us for that, the ID is the meeting ID for Zoom is right there in front of you, and it's also on our website. If you decide to join us later and didn't write down the number, you can always go to our website to get all of this information. We're really excited to have a Raise the Roof campaign. That's right, folks. In about 2 weeks, we will be replacing our roof. You can be part of that wonderful stewardship for our center if you like. You can buy a shingle and participate. If you're interested in doing this, you can absolutely donate by mailing a check, using PayPal, Givelify. You can visit our website. Any way you'd like to participate and be part of this big shift in really upgrading our building, we'd really appreciate it. And we really appreciate all the support we've received already. Today, at 11:30, you can join me on our meeting ID 831-000-1818, and the passcode is the same, 1818. And for those of you that know our address, that's actually our street number. that's where we'll be coming together to do some fellowship and the talk after the talk. So I hope you'll join me on Zoom. It goes from 11:30 to 12 Pacific time. And I think that's it for our announcements. We talked about Vote Your Values. We talked about the talk after the talk this morning at 11:30. I want to remind you that Kaylee Dugan, who is a facilitator extraordinaire, does what we call Project to Connect Monday through Saturday. I do the Thursday call. She does the other calls. It's at 1 p.m. The number's there before you, 666-000-6060. Please join us. It's a great way to connect with your fellow community members, get a little extra support, or perhaps you want to support somebody else. I'm really grateful that we could be together and to spend this time together for our Sunday experience. And I look forward to seeing you next week when the Reverend Elijah Christopher will be our speaker. I expect we'll be in the sanctuary, but we're staying flexible, so who knows? We'll keep you posted. Thanks so much, and have a great week.
Love is but a song we sing, and fears the way we